Basically, what we specialize in is self-empowerment. I've been doing martial arts since I was 6 years old. I'm 41 years old now. My son's been doing martial arts since he was born. He's 21. And my daughter does martial arts, and she's been doing it since she was like 7. She's 11. And we then taught from China to all over the place. And my original reason for getting into martial arts really was because I was a little kid that was afraid to fight back. And where I grew up at, it was like, and then the city, real tough environment, so you had to fight. If not, you just got bullied. The papers that I just gave you are pages from a book that I wrote called Complete Martial Artist, which is a self-help book. So I want to share a little story from the book. It's called Resisting External Peer Pressure. I think when it comes down to bullying, the first and foremost thing, the reason why a lot of people have problems with bullying, it really starts with how you feel about yourself. Because a lot of times, if you don't feel like confident about yourself, you don't feel like sure about yourself, if you're walking with your head down, if you're doing everything to be accepted by this crowd over here because you don't think people are going to accept you for what you believe in, then therefore you put yourself in a situation where people begin to want to take advantage of you. So you can learn all the tricks, you can learn all the martial arts, you can learn all the skills, people can talk to you, they can do all that stuff, but if you don't have any confidence and self-esteem inside yourself, then all that stuff's going to be a waste of time. So the first and foremost thing that has to happen for me as a parent, I know, is that I got to make sure that my kid feels really good about himself inside. And he's willing to stand up and be able to express himself in a respectful and positive way, because once again, bullying and conflict is real strange, like a catch-22. You can tell your kid to stand up and say what you have to say, but then if the kid stands up and they say it in an arrogant and bad manner, that's going to make the person want to hurt you. So it comes back to character, and that means that you got to be able to voice your opinion, but you got to do it in a manner that doesn't intimidate the other person that's trying to hurt you. But then that goes right back to self-empowerment. It goes back to self-esteem. It goes back to positive self-talk. So on that first page that we have, we talk about some of the simple things when it comes down. Now, you done already built up the confidence. You feel good about yourself. it don't have to be martial arts. For me, it has, the values that I teach, I just like to tell you, don't come from martial arts school, come from my mommy and my dad. That's just it. Saying sir, saying ma'am, feeling good about myself, believing in my dreams, getting tough love, getting total support that comes from my mommy and my daddy. And I think that's where it starts from. It starts from us just being surrounded by people that's going to really build us up, push us, and even though they might not see that our goal, because think about it, once again, here we go. You got a guy sitting here, all I do is do martial arts. That's all I do. That's what I make a living off of. So you can imagine at the time I was doing martial arts, what people were saying, that's stupid, you belong, don't do this, don't do that. So you might, kids, they got goals right now, and most people probably don't believe this guy ever going to manifest anything. We got a videotape, we interviewed a bunch of kids in Little City, and I asked all the kids, what you want to be when you get big? One little kid said, I want to be a trash man. Everybody started laughing at me. I said, man, it's okay to be a trash man, believe it or not. The guy that created Blockbusters was a trash man. That's what he did. He went around, collected trash, and got enough money that he invested in video stores and all that stuff. So everybody is of value. So I think first and foremost, we got to try to get that person to feel good about whatever they believe in. Somebody might be a bookworm. They just want to read. I'm a bookworm. I love to read. Somebody might be a bookworm. So we got to build their confidence up. So we got the confidence built up. Now let's say we go out. What's the first encounter? To me, this first bully that we talk about, a verbal bully, one who says things and hurts you, just with his words, just what he's saying. That's one of the hardest type of bullies to deal with, because this is where kids always get caught up in. You want to fit in. You want to be cool. So all of a sudden, you're a new kid in school and everybody's cracking jokes. So you get in and you want to crack a joke. So you're cracking jokes, you name calling, doing all this stuff, it's fun. But then one day you come in and you have a bad day. Then those same people crack jokes on you, and you can't beat this person. And that person might be the school bully, but you wanted to fit in, you cut a bobo, you're doing all this stuff. All of a sudden you had a bad day, and that person started cracking jokes, and then you say, leave me alone. There's conflict right there. So for me as a parent, I always tell my son, be careful with the situations that you put yourself in. Before you begin to open yourself up like that, because what it is is the kids lowering their boundaries. Even in karate school, you see that. Little kids be playing around and all of a sudden, little kid over there, somebody's pushing around and say, well, what happened? Oh, well, I cracked a joke, and then you cracked a joke on me, and that's what happened. Okay, well, you shouldn't be cracking jokes. First and foremost, stop that right there. So that's the first bully, the verbal bully who beats people down with words. The practical joker, same, similar person. The practical joker just like to come around and crack jokes on people. And I know as a kid, there's some people that can crack jokes on you that make you want to cry. I mean, they just beat you up. I mean, you'll start off, and that's how it starts. You'll start off joining with them, they'll start off joining with you, and before you know it, they get the best of it, just like a fight. Now you get mad. Now you want to go and tell the teacher, and you see, it's a catch-22. I can sit here and tell you all this stuff, but it's still a catch-22 because, and I think, for me as an instructor, how do I find balance in that situation? Well, what I do as an instructor, what I do is tell my students, be careful of what situations you put yourself into. What I tell the parents, be careful of what sort of situations they put themselves in as well. Now, we go to number 3, the athletic bully. Now, I like to say that's my son. He has great physical powers. A lot of times when he competes in karate tournaments, he makes people go get me a water bottle, go get me a mouthpiece, go get me that. Might be a guy on the basketball court, a person on the basketball court. Man, get out the way. Come on, when I come down the court, I'm going to slam dunk in your face, so move out the way. Is that a bad person? I think in that environment, once again, that person that feels as though they're being intimidated, being bullied, got to understand that environment. Now, if you don't understand that environment, once again, if you don't understand that the spirit's going to get so aggressive like that, and that person comes down and just out of the competitive nature, they make you feel bad or feel like they're bullying, and then you go, that's conflict again, because now you go and you tell someone, you jump back on them and tell them, man, stop. And it really is a competitive spirit, but then the other person begins to get arrogant and get mad. So now the person who's weak begins to take it like it's a physical attack, but yet really it's just a competitive spirit. That's basically what it is, it's a competitive spirit. So once again, how do you prepare the reason why I wrote this in the book, because you can sit around and talk about bullying all you want, but if you don't clearly describe the different behaviors, so it's like fighting. Somebody can kick you, somebody can punch you, somebody can grab you, somebody can throw you down. We can get the students to understand these different forms of behavior. Then when something like that happens, before it even gets physical, they can sense it just through the spiritual nature of the attitude. Go to the next one. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to go to the one, the intellectual bully. And this is the bully. This is the one who, now, in martial arts, everybody can fight. That's just, you don't come to martial arts to learn how to fight. Let's just be honest about that. You do not go to karate school to learn how to fight. You already know how to fight. We just teach you other things to express that fighting ability. But now you have a person that don't even like to get physically involved with conflict, but they have a lot of knowledge. They got book knowledge, they got good grades, and they always make other people feel bad. That's the intellectual book. I mean, they can quote things out the book, out the dictionary, without even reading the dictionary. That bully tends to stir up a lot of trouble without most people in authority knowing it. Because in your eyesight, that's a good kid. They get good A's, they doing good, they doing work for you as a teacher in school, they take out the trash, they doing all that. But every now and then, when they can get the best of somebody, and they might be in a conflict with a physical bully. The physical bully doing whatever they want to do to try to make them feel bad, and then the moment they get that person to feel like they're friends, now that intellectual bully begin to make them feel less than. And I know me as an adult, the person that makes you feel worse is that person that got a little bit more intellect and got a little bit more knowledge, and they just pressure and make you feel bad, So, the intellectual bully, like I said, is the one that goes unnoticed because they don't physically do things that stands out the most. And then we have another one called spiritual bully. That's someone takes spiritual and go on, but that goes a little bit more into adult stuff. Let's talk about some of the things here, some of the principles that we use to conduct us. How do we respond? Once again, as a martial arts instructor, I do not teach fighting. Fighting is the last resort. If you ever have to use what you have learned in a martial arts school, you have lost the fight. And once again, if you get a chance to read my book, you see I've been through anything that you can possibly imagine. I haven't been in a fight since I was 13 years old, and I'm 41 years old now. And if my son ever comes and tells me, Dad, he tried to do something to me, and you already lost. Why are you telling me that? You let him bring you down to his level. So it goes back to what I first said, self-empowerment. It goes back to confidence. It goes back to self-esteem. It goes back to how you feel about yourself. It goes back to positive environments. What are we doing to make that person feel better? I mean, in my martial arts school, if a parent said, well, when do my kid need to use self-defense? That's on you. I can't tell you when your kid should use that self-defense tool. Basically, self-defense is to build, martial arts is to build up your self-esteem and give you confidence to know that I'm okay and I feel good about myself. I don't really have to hit someone, do something physically to someone. So once we understand, once again, it goes back to self-empowerment, feeling good about yourself, conduct yourself in a positive manner, being careful. Okay, you can be a person that always been bullied, but if you walk around with your head down, you get smart with people, when somebody say, can you please move out the way, you go, I ain't trying to hear that. What you just did, you just created conflict. So it goes back to body language. Tony Robbins talked about that. If your body language is not good, if it's a negative signal that you're sending off, that's just going to create conflict. So I think the first and foremost thing that we can talk to, and it goes back again, it's like the third time I'm saying it, self-empowerment. It goes back to confidence, self-esteem, making sure the kid, it's self-love. I think if the kid can feel a little bit more better about themselves, by being built up some kind of way, through the positive reinforcement they get at home and then they get in school, then they're not going to, I know it sounds crazy, you're going to be less involved in those sort of situations where somebody's going to be bullying you and trying to take advantage of you. So conducting yourself in a positive manner, being careful that you don't respond to a bully negatively. Treat them as you would like to be treated. That's it. Anything you read about self-development and spiritual development tells you always treat somebody else like you want to be treated. And I know it's probably crazy because a lot of literatures say if it's a bad person, treat them like a bad person, but that's not true. You got to treat them like you want to be treated because eventually that bad person becomes a good person. That's something for adults there. Because I was a bad kid. First I was bullied, then I became a bully, now I'm a person that teaches people how to avoid bullies. So you got to be careful how you do it because you're trying to change someone. So your example is very important. Be humble, making sure you aren't showing off when you make new friends. How do you teach that to a kid? Well, I think it just goes back to just constant positive, respectful reminders of when they're showing bad behavior. And I say it again as a parent of 2 kids. I really don't have that much of a problem with that with my son because I try to correct that immediately and teach a lot of kids as well. Take charge of your behavior by working the first 2 defensive tools, taking charge of your behavior. So it's hard to be positive when you feel down. It's hard to be positive when you don't want to go to school the first day of school. The first day of school when they come into school, it's hard to just be positive. You don't want to be here. You wish you were still home and sleep. And like most kids, the first day of school is the coldest day of the year. I know that's how it was for me. I don't want to get up out the bed. So what do? We try to make them work hard. And that goes back to martial arts. Working the same way you work hard to throw a punch, you work hard to the topic centered on what we do in the book. But going back once again, I think it goes back to self-empowerment. It goes back to self-esteem, it goes back to confidence, and it goes back to positive reinforcement. I believe one of the key things I always tell kids, it's okay to correct someone, but it's how you correct them that's important. Do we correct them respectfully, or do we correct them disrespectfully? And that's probably one thing, it's the way that you have to do that. And I think if you talk to the kids about that on a regular basis, that truly helps. Humble behavior. For me as a parent, I speak as a parent, anytime I see my son exhibit that sort of behavior, I try to correct him right then and there in a respectful manner. So now, it's crazy, it's like he's 21 years old and we're the best of friends. He say, I'm your best friend. So whenever things are, instead of like yelling and screaming, and even as a parent, at one time when he's a kid and trying to correct him, I probably yelled, but now he's becoming a teenager to adult. Now I got to change my whole approach because I'm trying to get results. So I think it goes right back to how I got to change my vocabulary and my way to deal with my kid. So therefore I can get the results that I'm trying to get. And I think the result is just not to be able to get in conflict. And I say again, and this book, believe it or not, I'm trying to bring this point at hand. I wrote this book, And if you ever go on Amazon.com, you will see emails from